Hey everybody! Everybody! Okay, it looks like we're on. Hey everybody, it's your favorite alpha geek in the entire universe, Mike Meyers, coming to you on the Monday edition of the Mike Meyers Ask Mike Anything live stream. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us, not anymore, heck with that, I'm not going to say it anymore. We started this about 2 years ago when nobody could get out of their house and they're trying to get through CompTIA certifications, and now, heck, it's just a bunch of us fun folks having a good time talking about technology, certifications. I concentrate on the CompTIA A+, Net+, and Security Plus certs, but I'm certainly very comfortable with outside of that in terms of IT certifications. English is not my first language today, and so the goal here is real simple. All you got to do is ask me some questions, and I'll answer them for you. It always kills me that I start this show. I know I say this every time, but it still kills me. It's like nobody shows up at first. So I'm gonna just pretend and not actually say anything here. I'm going to now do the CompTIA A+ certification through interpretive dance. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, let's see who's on board first. Where's, oh, scheisse, my mic. Hey, Andre, thanks. Maybe that's good that nobody shows up for the first few minutes. That way you guys can correct me. How am I sounding now? Does that sound a little bit better? Help me. I think we're doing all right. Hello, expired. I'm expired. What if I started a show and there was no audience? Well, you know, I'm not saying that's happened yet, but it could happen. So, Andre, good to see you again today. Mohammed, good to see you again, brother. Patricia, my favorite IT princess in the universe. How's life in Florida these days? It's we got a big cold front coming down here in Houston. It's going to be like in the teens come Thursday, and I got about 7 plumeria plants in my courtyard that I am not physically able to move, so I'm going to have to come up with a plan quick before they all die horribly. Man, plumeria do not like the cold at all. Who else is on? Will Shaw, good to see you, Will. Or should I say, good to see you, Will. Tolowit, always there. TD, good to see you, brother. Always feel like I'm doing the romper room thing when I do this. You know, I see Andre and Patricia. Yeah. Does anybody even get that reference? Okay, I got my mic on. Mike. This kills me. How does somebody on YouTube have the YouTube name of Mike? I mean, did you like sign up for YouTube on the second day or something like that? I think I gave you hassle about that one. Joseph C. Mike, you've helped me earn my A+, Net+, and Security Plus. Joseph, I'm extremely glad. Congratulations to you for getting those certifications. Joseph, and you need to answer this. I'm going to be watching the chat. Have you got a job? IT certifications are absolutely amazing. They're a critical thing, but the function of an IT certification, in my opinion, is for you to get your next job. So are you working? Because that's the important thing. Hearing some buzzing in the background, which invariably means it's Dave Rush giving me information. Dave is telling me that, Will, you got a Network Plus question, so hit me, baby. I'm here for you. Norvik, hey, good to see you again. It's been a while since you've been on. Sandra Lawson, with a red hand. What does that mean? Patricia Grace, I'm loving the cold. Not me, babe. It's like in the high 40s, low 50s here in Houston, and that's plenty cold for me right there. It's a secret. Yeah, I'll bet it is, Mike, however you got that name. Is there a corpse somewhere that we're not talking about buried under your house? No, okay. Joseph C., yes, I do. Great. All right, that's the important thing, Joseph. I'm glad you're working. So, Joseph, the other question I'm going to have for you is, what's next? What's your next step? Give me a moment, type it in. I'm going to be very interested in what you would say there. Can you go, okay, Will Shaw, question. Can we go over the difference between scalability and elasticity in addition to vertical versus horizontal? So, hey, Lana, you might as well wave because the mirrors, everybody saw you. Say hi. That's all right. That was Lana. Can we go over the differences between scalability and elasticity in addition to vertical versus horizontal scaling? I'm struggling to solidify it all and it often confuses them. Yeah, Will, let me give me a minute because I'm going to have to chew on that one for a second. Will, I'm assuming you're talking about with cloud, right? Let's double check that, Will, because that would be the only way I would be able to talk about that. So Will, help me out there a little bit. So Mike, any recommendations for a beginner gaming PC? Yeah, build your own. Most gaming that we're doing these days is really video card centric. And I know I got that old RTX 4090, but in all reality, that is massive overkill for the vast majority of people. If you had an old 1080 gaming card these days, which you could now get for a few $100, you're going to have plenty of firepower for the vast majority of games. Sure, you might have things like Crysis 2047 or things like that you might have to turn down a little bit, but in general, you'll be fine. Gaming machines outside of the graphics cards don't have a lot of demand. 32 gigs of RAM would be my recommendation there, but in terms of the processor, get yourself a nice little Ryzen 7 or an i5, maybe an i7. Again, price is the thing. People are like, well, no, tell me exactly what CPU to buy. I can't, because these prices fluctuate so dramatically. So let me give you a little trick. First of all, when we're talking about CPUs, let's go with that for a starter. CPU prices. So what we have here is price in the y-axis and power in the x-axis, okay? So if you look at all the Intels and Ryzen processors, whatever, blah, 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 they all kind of go like this. So as they get more powerful, the price goes up, okay? No big deal there. But there's invariably this point where they start to shoot up really fast. And when I'm buying a processor, unless I've got something that's really known to be processor-centric, a lot of serving or something like that, I don't go to this part of the curve. Just stay here. Tom's Hardware is a great place to be looking for example, the best CPUs for the money, and they do it monthly. It's a great job. Motherboards are a different story. When it comes to motherboards, I like to buy name brand. When I buy peanut butter, I buy Jif because I think Jif is the best peanut butter, and I'm not going to buy any other peanut butter. If I'm going to be buying motherboards, I'm probably going to go with a bigger name like Asus, Gigabyte, insert more here. I can't think of any others quickly. But the reason I do is name brand stuff tends to have easier return. If you got a problem with a motherboard, you're going to have better quality in general. And then the other thing I look at on motherboards is what do I want on the motherboard? You got to really, motherboards can be a challenge. Do I want 3 M.2 slots? I don't know. Do I want an Ethernet port in the back? Do I want 754 USB 3.0, 3.1 slots? Do I need USB-C? You know, these are kind of personal questions. And you know what your stuff is and where you're going. Do you want wireless on a motherboard? Actually, it's hard to find motherboards that don't have wireless anymore. But, you know, those are the things you have to ask yourself. I don't really care about name brands on RAM. I tend to go with the lower end Corsair memories because I find that they're pretty good. And so there's your CPU. There's your CPU, RAM, mama board. Cooling, I'll use an OEM fan most of the time. I have no interest in overclocking. I like liquid cooled, but I'm willing to pay a little extra for that. So that's one thing you might want to consider. A couple other little things when you're buying a gaming system you need to remember. Don't be afraid to buy a UPS. A lot of times when you start to buy your system up and you get this part, that part, next thing you know, you're up to, in general, maybe say $1,300. You start getting real cheap on two things that you don't want to be real cheap on. Number one, cheap UPSs. I think a UPS is critical. Here in Texas, we have pretty good power, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. We have a lot of thunderstorms and such, so a UPS can be a real lifesaver there. And the other thing that people go cheap on, and they really shouldn't, are monitors. A monitor can last a decade or more, especially now with HDMI, in my opinion, probably kind of maxing out in terms of its performance. I would be buy all the monitor that you can, because you'll probably yank that system out and put another system underneath it and still keep those monitors. And well, I'm going to throw this one in too. This is a little bit controversial. Buy 2 monitors. Just buy 2. And you'll sit there and go, well, Mike, I can't afford 2. Well, what'll happen is you're going to buy one, then you have another monitor that's junk, or it's an older monitor, it's your old monitor, whatever you're doing in dual monitor scenarios, and you start getting yourself frustrated over time. So it can be a bit of a challenge. So hopefully that's some ideas for you. I mean, part of the joy, and for the record, the other thing I consider doing is joining our Discord channel. We got a lot of great techs in there. A lot of the names you see here are also on the Discord channel itself, and they can be a lot of help in terms of just that kind of stuff. So, Dave, if you haven't already, can you go ahead and throw a link for the Discord channel? All right, guys, give me 1 second. I got to tweak this a little bit. All right, I think we're a little bit reader friendly here. All right, where was that? Will had a question. Where did it go? Okay, Will Shaw, your question today is, can we go over the difference between scalability and elasticity in addition to vertical versus horizontal scaling? I'm struggling to solidify it all and often confuse them. Okay, you got to remember, the thing about cloud more than anything else is that there really are computers behind all this. Now, they might be virtualized. They're almost certainly virtualized. But the cloud isn't that terribly interesting to me. As far as I'm concerned, the cloud has always been around. It's just what happened is that virtual machines started to really kick in a little over 10, maybe 15 years ago now. And when you combine remote servers that are virtualized and put some kind of front end which allows you as the user to configure, provision, install software, all that from a handy screen, that's really what the cloud is. So at that point, we're really talking about either infrastructure as a service. Let's just go with infrastructure as a service right now. Let's keep it like AWS or something like that. So what were the two? Scalability and, okay, scalability and elasticity. I could do that one. It's hard if you know, back in the 90s, if you started up a web page that got popular, you had to start adding physical rack-mounted servers, usually at your ISP and stuff like that. And that was a big deal. So it was hard to scale up anything. So that could be a really important issue. And what if you become really popular overseas? So scalability means the ability to easily spin up new instances of a particular server, and that's going to be more platform as a service kind of stuff. But you can, with the right cloud provider, do cool things. So yeah, I can add more systems to allow more people to get to www.willshaw.com. So that's what they mean by scalability, make more. But it's more than that, because not only does it allow you to make more systems, but it allows you to place systems, if it's a good cloud provider like AWS, with scalability. I can create points of presence in Asia or in Europe. Suddenly, willshaw.com is really popular in Hungary. Is that still a country? God, I hope it is. In that case, somebody like AWS can allow you to create instances that are geographically close to where things are exciting. So that's some of the benefit of scalability right there. Now, elasticity is kind of like scalability, but different. There's a lot of web services out there that are in season. Like here in the United States, we have the NFL. How about World Cup? Let's do World Cup. What's that game y'all play? What's it called? Football? Anyway, so people are going to go to certain websites. I don't know where do people go for World Cup information, but I'm sure there's a official World Cup webpage. And during the World Cup itself, there's a demand spikes. So now you need to be able to scale up in a big way. But the problem is that after the World Cup, you're not going to need all of those instances. You want to be able to take them down. And that's what we mean by elasticity. So elasticity is half of scalability, but more importantly, the ability to not only bring systems online, but as demand goes down, to take systems down. So what was the other question you had here? Vertical versus horizontal. Okay. Horizontal scaling basically just goes, okay, I'm going to add more servers. That's all it means. So, so as a part of scalability, if you just add more servers, you're providing horizontal scaling. Yes, I got that right. Got to say it a couple of times. So that's all that means, adding more servers. Vertical's a little bit different. With vertical, and this is actually an area that a lot of people ignore, what you're doing is that you have lower powered systems. Almost anybody, when they start setting up web pages, especially infrastructure as a service like AWS, they give you a list of all these different processors and RAM and capabilities. And you tend to go for the cheapest or the lowest amount of memory because it costs less per month. Well, a lot of times, if what you're having is lag that the servers themselves aren't responding fast enough, it's usually a better idea to consider vertical scaling. In other words, go back into that same system, swipe out the old CPU with something a lot more powerful, add more RAM, things like that. So horizontal just means adding more systems. Vertical scaling means making the systems that you have already bigger, faster, better. I think that's about all I could say about them. Those are the big ones. So Mike, I want to build or upgrade, but I want a foundation. Mike, I'm telling you, the most important things you can do for a foundation is a good UPS, good monitors, what else? A good case. That's really important. You're not going to be able to build a good foundation because in 3 years, they're going to have yet another kind of CPU with another kind of mount, and you're going to want it. Motherboards, CPUs, and RAM tend to move in and out of systems. But people forget the cost of good monitors, the cost of a good UPS, the cost of a great case so that you can go in there and swap stuff out. Think about those because that's where your real foundation is. Norvik, Mike, very nice to see you on TikTok. Yeah, for now. I'm going to stay on TikTok, but I'm getting a lot of back pressure. Like, for example, on TikTok, I've been begging people to join me on TikTok. It's a national cyber group. We're easy to find. And I think we're up to like 13 members so far. So a lot of people are just uncomfortable with it. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but China can definitely go outside its your end user agreement. So there are some questions about that. On the last live, you didn't talk about that. Well, I did. I guess I just covered it also. Look, nobody has hard evidence, in my opinion, on exactly what the Chinese government's doing. So to be honest with you, I will be on TikTok, but I'm also probably going to be moving over to Instagram as well. So you'll be able to go either direction. It's the same content, just distributed differently. So either way is great. I like TikTok. Proceed with caution. MSI, that's right, Andre, that was a good motherboard to recommend. Steve G, good to see you, my friend. Mike, my brother got an HP Victus Ryzen 5 5600 and an RX 6400. 8 gigs of RAM, that's not going to be enough, I can tell you right now. Not for gaming, dude. And a half gig SSD. You got to remember, man, if you're a gamer, you're going to have that Steam account, and you can start downloading games, I would tell your brother to keep the 512 gig SSD, but only install Windows on that. And then go ahead and get a rotational media drive or an SSD drive, I guess, if you want. And then that's where you store out, you actually go into your Steam settings and go, put all of my games on the D drive or however you partition it. Hey, Steve G, what's the weather like in Toronto, huh? You missed all the weather discussion that the Southern Texan and the Floridians are talking about. Peter Hunt, good day, good day. Good day, Peter Hunt. Good to see you, man. Okay, David, thank you for putting up the unofficial Total Seminars Discord server. And do check it out, guys. Please join. It's a good place to be. And then the big scroll. I see a lot of @ signs, so I'm going to skip all those. Guys, do keep in mind that we start here at 2 o'clock, and then we run, it's 2:22 already, good Lord. And we run till 3 o'clock or until the questions run out. So do keep that in mind, please, please, please. Why are we making jokes about Taylor Swift? I don't even want to know. Andre and Tolowit, you guys are just dangerous. All right. So do keep in mind, just because you guys are nice enough to show up today, we have our standard offer. Always remember, you need instruction, video, instructor-led, you need a book for reference, and you need practice questions to test. So just because you're nice enough to show up today, we have our standard 50% off offer of our combined ebook. You get an ebook, and you get the total test or practice questions for 50% off. So you definitely want to check that out. Dave Rush has got the details there in the chat window, and take advantage. It's always such a good, it's a good deal. It's a great deal. Will Shaw, Messer went on a tirade. I got to tell you, a lot of people are going on a tirade. You know what? You know the person who went on a tirade, Will? Dave Rush. And him and Richard Chapman, my partner for the Two Bald Nerds, Dave Rush put me in a half Nelson, and Richard pretty much just yanked on my hair, telling me that TikTok's a bad idea. Our management still really likes them, so we're gonna continue to move forward there. But we'll probably be taking the same content and moving it to Instagram. Andre, okay, all right. Daniel Thibodeau, what size UPS backup do you recommend for a middle-of-the-road gaming PC? Again, I don't have to. What you want to do, I haven't looked this up in a while. Oh God, UPS. United Parcel Service. Hang on. Whoop, hang on. So I'm trying to find, there are a few websites out there by people who make UPSs to help you figure out what kind of UPS you want. See if I can find one real quick. All right, let's try APC. They're a pretty popular name. This is good for me to do, so nope. Oh, apc.com, Dirk. So I'm on apc.com right now. Can I? I've been messing with this system so badly recently. Guys, I might go black for a minute. Definitely going black. Okay. apc.com, where is... I don't want to spend a bunch of time online trying to dig this up for you. Ooh, that was not the direction I wanted to go. So I'm digging, guys. Okay, so on apc.com, they have a product selector that has you kind of walk through the different type of... Trust me when I tell you it's there. UPS selector, surge protection selector, please work. Oh, there we go. Okay, it took me a minute to. Here, I'm gonna put the link up. Sorry, it took me longer to do that than I thought. I'm gonna drop the link real quick. And this is just for APC, and it will help you get an idea of what you need. Keep in mind, they're always going to want you at least 20% more than what you probably need, but I'd go ahead and get them anyway. But there's your link right there, and check it out. Sorry. When you guys see my head turning this way, I'm actually reading questions. And, of course, I made the mistake of reading Tolowitz, as usual, amusing comments. So, all right. So, Daniel, hopefully that'll give you some ideas. So, you know, the other thing, yeah, I think you get the whole idea. Remember, the other thing to keep in mind is when they're talking about UPS sizes, they use the term volt amps. So, volts times amps equals watts, right? Not right, because volts times amps times efficiency equals the wattage. So most of the time what you've got to be careful about, and especially when you're buying from one particular brand like APC, they'll calculate the efficiency for you and then give you that kind of output. So what they're saying is, we'll give you this amount of volt amps, but the actual amount of watts you pull is going to be based on the efficiency of your system. So let's say you've got a power supply that's got a 80 efficiency, which is pretty common, like an 80 bronze. You take that volt amps and then you multiply it, the inverse of, God, it's been a while since I've done this. The inverse of 8, so it's about 1.2. So you need more volt amps to have enough wattage for the output of the power supply. Woo! Mohammed's saying 800 volt amps. 800 volt amps? I guess if you didn't have a lot of spinning storage and if you didn't have a power supply that was too hairy, volt amps isn't a bad way to go. I tend to, the UPSs I've been using around the house are about 1,200 to 1,300. But I'm paying a premium for that too. The other thing you got to remember when you're doing UPSs is that they have batteries. And a lot of times the batteries are little more than glorified automobile or motorcycle batteries. And so if you go to APC to buy a replacement battery, 4 or 5 years is not too uncommon. They'll charge you out the nose, but a lot of times if you actually look at the battery, and it's different for every UPS, folks. I'm not going to try to say this is a guarantee every time, but you can actually just buy a motorcycle battery. Zoltan, speaking in his crazy language. All right, hopefully that's a little bit more of an answer. Oh, there you go, Dave. Dave, volt amps times 0.70, that is the, I know that number, 0.7071. That's, you're assuming efficiency there. Oh, you're doing my calculation, thanks. My aircraft generators are 40 kilovolt, yeah, well, that would probably cover it. Daniel, what is the standard run time for what? I'm not sure what you're asking me there, brother. Dave seems to be taking you in another direction, so I'm going to let Dave go ahead and polish that up a little bit and give you guys some good answers. So I'm definitely going to be taking the holidays. One of these live streams is going to die. It's either the Monday one or the Wednesday one, and we're going to be replacing it with more of a not live, maybe live, I don't know. We'll have Dave, what Dave wants to do there, but it's going to be extremely topical. Instead of just reacting to topics, I've decided I'm going to start, am I copying Messer a little bit? Maybe. Trying to put together more interesting topics as opposed to just Q&As. Q&As are great when the questions are coming in, but I think people often don't know what they're asking for, so we're going to be doing more of a presentation, and that should be happening here in the not too distant future. All right, I'll tell you what. Looks like the questions are slowing down already. What is it? Oh, it's after 2:30. We're okay. Let's go ahead and do a contest. Anybody want to do a contest today? I saw some new names in there. So we're about to have a competition. You guys ready? We're going to be competing for 90-day free access to the practice questions if you want. So let's go ahead and do this. Man, I got a great question. Let's take advantage of Will Shaw here, shall we? And let's go ahead and we're about to have a competition, guys. Here's how this competition works. I'm about to say something, and you are then going to go ahead, and whoever types the best answer in is going to win. And this one is going to take a little typing, so it might take a moment to get the answer I like. So don't be afraid to develop the answer the best you can. And this is in celebration of Will's great question. You guys ready? What? Here we go. You guys ready? First person to type it in the way I like it is going to win. Here we go. Yeah, Will, you're on the deck. What is a primary feature of elasticity which is not considered a part of scalability? We just talked about this about 20 minutes ago, guys. I repeat the question. What is a feature of elasticity in the cloud that is not necessarily considered a part of scalability? Go. Yeah, Will Shaw, you're a victim. Hey, Joey, good to see you, man. EMH, you're new. Are you new, EMH? I haven't seen you before, brother. Welcome aboard. Nobody wants me to talk right now. They all want me to shut up because they're typing. Gotcha. I'm just going to let you guys type for a second. I'm going to see what Dave Rush is telling me in the background here. So what is an aspect of elasticity which is not considered an aspect of scalability? Nobody's typed in a winning answer yet. Do I need some Jeopardy music? Dum, ba bum, 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 boom, boom, something like that. Come on, you cowards. Oh, hey, Vegas Brent, good to see you, man. What is an aspect of elasticity which is not considered a part of scalability? There you go. Oh, my nose is itching again. Guys, you know, I do not walk around all day rubbing my nose. There is something about, or maybe because I'm talking constantly, or maybe because I haven't trimmed my mustache since 1947. I'm starting to look like that guy on that Bovington Tank Museum. But anyway, I'm gonna call a winner here because we've only got one, and that is Zoltan. Keep it simple, guys. With elasticity, you can bring systems down, whereas with scalability, we tend to just talk about bringing systems up. That's all we were looking for. Zoltan, I'm going to give that to you. But, oh, now you guys are starting to type. Sorry, Ann. Ann? I believe I know your name. Anyway, Zoltan, congratulations. You are the winner. Zoltan, in order to take advantage, I am like, not ready to do this today. So Zoltan, here you go, man. Go ahead and type it, email to Dave Rush. That's Dave R at TotalSem.com. Be sure to include your YouTube name, which is Zoltan Brshkovich, and add in your email address, put the email address in the body, and then number 3, tell us which practice exam you want, because this is certainly not limited to just A+ or something. Anything in our library, you are welcome to. There's a lot of stuff in there, guys. So well done to you, Zoltan. Good job, man. All right, guys, last chance for questions here before I run out the door. Joey says elasticity can be done with the click of a button, while scalability you have to configure more. Joey, and with love and respect, I may disagree with you on that. All right. But again, Zoltan, well done, folks. All right. Look, guys, I guess that's it for the day. Will we come back on Wednesday? Dave, is Steve showing up on Wednesday or not? Because if Steve ain't showing up, we're going to be doing Secure Boot. Let's see what Dave Rush says on that. But either Steve is going to be showing up, our A+ SME, great guy, great presenter. And okay, it is Steve. Okay, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure Steve's going to be talking about Active Directory after a month of Tuesdays waiting for him. We're very much looking forward to that. And then I guess I'll just push mine off a little bit. I was going to try to do Secure Boot today, but Microsoft has decided that I don't have a license to use Microsoft Office products anymore. And I have spent a day and a half with Microsoft trying to explain to them that we have lots of licenses, and without PowerPoint, I'm a little bit out of water. So sorry about that. Oh, that's next Wednesday. Sorry. That's next Wednesday, not in 2 days. All right. For the record, about 15 minutes before the show started today, I did get my Office working again. I absolutely, positively guarantee that we're going to be doing Secure Boot. It's not that terribly interesting, to be honest with you guys, but the reason I keep putting off more than anything else is I think we need to have a good presentation. You guys understand, you're my guinea pigs for everything that I do, right? And so we're going to have a great, I want to put together a nice product, and then we pass that on to the SMEs too. So appreciate you guys being a little bit easy on me there. So Steve is next week. Got it. Okay. Got it. Wait, one more quick question, and then I'm going to call it a day. Ann McGee, Mike, I am studying for the Network Plus in a class, and we have configure VLANs, can't understand how to build a network. Any help, please? And the biggest thing, you didn't tell me what you're using as a hypervisor. If you were using Oracle's VirtualBox, I could help you just off the top of my head. If you're using anything else, we'd have to do some research. But a lot of times when you're in a hypervisor, they have the ability, and there's usually some settings thing in there where you can set up how your network is. Usually by default, pretty much if you spin up a virtual machine, it's going to be what's called a bridged network. What that means is that it's going to be using your physical network card, but it's going to virtualize its own network card. And that network card will be able to pull DHCP and everything you want from the actual physical network. So if your host system is got an IP address of 192.168.5 something, then even your virtual machines, if they're bridged, will also have 192.168.5 somethings. That tends to be the default for most hypervisors. However, there's lots of other options. You can set up a virtual little network. And when you spin up a virtual machine, instead of saying bridged, you can put it in, say, network 1. And then any virtual machine that you spin up and you put it in network 1, also be able, it's as though you took a switch and plugged those virtual machines into that one switch. Then you can set it, a network with a network connection. You can set it up with your own DHCP server. On some hypervisors, you can set it up where you have your own, it's a router in essence, and with its own gateway and things like that. So it really, it matters a lot what you're using there. And do me a favor. Send me an email, because I think we've already done some videos on this, and which could be really, really helpful for you. Hang on. So many buttons, so little time. And send me an email. My email address is michaelm@totalsem.com. And I would love to talk to you about this on a more personal basis. So give me a holler and let me know. I'd sure do appreciate hearing from you. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a day. Look forward to, we will be doing Secure Boot in 2 days. I guarantee it. Locked in stone. Did I say VLAN? I meant VM. Yeah, I meant VM. Sorry. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Folks, I'm out the door here. I will see you guys on Wednesday. We'll be talking about Secure Boot, as well as any other topics you guys want to talk about. So until then, this is your little Uncle Mikey saying good night. Bye-bye.